We're making coffee today in this, my Chemex. Hi guys, welcome back to Bread and Butter, your favorite cooking channel. Today, I'm gonna run you through my coffee routine, my morning coffee ritual. Now, I don't know if you've ever come across a Chemex. This beauty. It was invented in 1940 something, and it is divine. This is part of my morning meditation, my caffeine meditation. We're not gonna dive into something deep. We're gonna go through the basics. My beans, my Chemex, how I quickly and easily make my morning coffee. Now these guys you can find in different sizes, but I think this is the original, the big one, and I'm happy with it. Guess what? We're gonna need some coffee beans. You can buy them whole or pre-ground. I always choose the whole ones because then you can choose how fine or coarse you want to grind them, and they do stay fresher for longer. So what kind of beans you buy, the country that they came from, how they are roasted. These are all specific things, and you just need to try and try and try and find what you love. Now, if you go to like a specialty coffee place, talk to the barista, just find what you like. And there are different words to describe the different flavor profiles. You have more acidic coffee, and then you have more sour coffee. You can have chocolate notes. You can have nutty notes. Is it like closer to an almond or a hazelnut? Do you like berries? For example, I love chocolate undertones. I always dig papaya because, again, papaya has chocolate undertones and maybe some berries. So this one came to me from Ethiopia, and it has nougat, it has jasmine, and it has some berries. Love it. It's delicious. Just try them out. Now you need some kind of teapot. I think it's called a kettle. Whatever. You need you need something that you can boil water in and from which you can pour. This guy has this gorgeous neck. I think it's called a gooseneck. Now, why do I have a fancy schmancy one? Because first of all, it fits in a lot of water, and we do need a lot of water. And also when you pour, it's not heavy, it's easy to hold, and it's really mobile. You can kind of work with your wrist without damaging it. And this guy gives you a direct pour, and it actually gives you a nice kind of volume, like a nice force of the liquid. You don't want it to drip. We need to pour over. But again, you can use any kind of kettle that you have. I always use weights. As in any kind of cooking, especially baking, when you make coffee, you need precision. It's not like a crazy science, but to get the perfect flavor, you do need a specific amount of coffee beans and a specific amount of water. Now, all of the details are listed below, and I'll go through them a bit later again, but this thing really helps. And you can go fancy, a bit overboard, or you can just use any kind of kitchen weight thing that you have. Any will do. Last, but definitely not least, this is my coffee grinder. Now, I love this guy because look what it can do. You can actually choose the grind. You see, here we have filter, which is what we need today, but you can go AeroPress, French press, steep. Now this is important because it's all about how finely or how coarsely you want to grind the bean. Now let's take, for example, a situation. You buy some beans, you weigh them out, you grind them, and it says filter. You make the coffee, you taste it, and it's just way too strong for your liking. You can keep the beans, you keep the same amount of water, but you just change the grind, and it will immensely affect the taste. You can make your coffee stronger, or you can make it lighter just by changing how you grind the beans. This is why I'm so obsessed with this thing. It really helps. Now let's get to making the coffee. I think I need some coffee. My battery is running a bit low. First things first, we need to boil some water. And we need like a strong rolling boil. Now I'm gonna be using 30 grams of coffee beans, and we will now weigh them. We will need 500 milliliters of water, and I always pour more water than I require, because when you're gonna be pouring it, the amount of water is gonna be giving that strength of the pour, if that makes any sense at all. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I'm doing the best that I can. Boil this, and I'm gonna show you what kind of filter I use for my Chemex. This is my paper filter. This is what it looks like. Basically, if you open it up, you have a thinner side with just like one kind of piece of paper, and then you have a thicker one with, let's say, 1, 2, 3. Now this thicker side goes where you have this little nose. This is where the coffee is gonna pour out from. Next step, when the water boils, I'm gonna grab my little kettle and I'm gonna pour water onto my filter just to get it wet. Now what this does is it warms the Chemex up a bit, and it also gets rid of any dust and residue that you have on the filter. And it definitely eliminates a kind of papery taste. So filter is in place, water is boiling. I pour a little bit, and then I just start kind of twirling and turning my Chemex. And the minute it is completely wet, the paper, we're done. Now I'm just gonna go pour out this liquid and get right back to you. It's nice and warm now. Another thing to look out for, you don't want the filter to kind of clog up this little nose to stick to it. You see there's a little bit of a space in between the filter and the nose. Now we're gonna get our coffee, nice and ground. It smells divine. Pouring it inside. Now what I do, I shake it around just to kind of even distribute the coffee on top. I take my finger and I make a hole right in the middle. Now it's time to bloom the coffee. We need the scales, the weights, that thing. This is what I meant. I think the weights is what we use in the gym. Now what do we need these guys for? We need a specific weight of water to bloom the coffee. Now this is really important information. I need your attention, undivided. 60 grams of coffee beans require 1 liter of water. 60 grams, 1 liter. Today, we're gonna be using 500 milliliters, that's half a liter, so we need 30 grams of the coffee bean. Now for the blooming process, the coffee's inside, the hole is made. I'm gonna grab my water and I'm just gonna pour over 50 grams. The minute I see 50 or 60, doesn't matter, this is that important, I'm gonna stop. And I'm gonna stop for like 5 to 7 seconds because we're gonna see some foaming, we're gonna see some bubbling, and that's exactly what we need to bloom the coffee. In 5 to 7 seconds, I'm gonna resume pouring over the coffee. And it's gonna be a very steady, equal flow of coffee. I'm gonna be moving clockwise in a very nice and circular, cute little motion. And when I see 500 on the scales, I'm gonna stop, take my Chemex off the scale, and this is where we're gonna be doing a little bit of swirling. We'll get back to that in a second. So the second I see some of the coffee grounds kind of sticking to the filter, to the walls, I swirl just once, just to get them back into place and to get them brewing. This is already giving me energy. Now the second you stop seeing drops of coffee, we're done. And you never, this is also a very, very important point, you never squeeze out the filter. You just kind of fold it up and discard. That's it. Now, a final swirl, just to make sure that the coffee inside is evenly kind of mixed. And we drink. And that, my friends, is how we make coffee in a Chemex. Oh, that's so good. For all of you coffee lovers, let me know, please, in the comments below, what do you think about this video? Do you have any questions? Maybe there are specific little things that you do when you make your coffee in a Chemex and you'd like to share them with the world. I would be so grateful. But again, this is my simple version. If you like, we can continue the coffee series. I can show you how I make my famous coconut cold brew or how I make coffee liqueur. Just let me know if this hits the spot and we can continue in this direction. Maybe you want us to stick to matcha. I can make a video of how I make my morning matcha. But this is not only my routine, this is my meditation. This is the time that I require in the morning just to kind of set my mind. I pour over my coffee, I think about the day, the things I need to do, and then this gives me energy for the day. Have a good one.